Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation, good evening and welcome to Weekend News. Coming up in this edition, President Bill calls on Sierra Leoneans to do their HIV test to know their status. The remains of the late American President George H.W. Bush to be laid in state in Washington. And UN Women capacitate women on how to use shea butter to produce cosmetic products. All these stories and more are lined up in this edition of the news with me, Mariam Suma. Welcome back. The National AIDS Secretariat, in collaboration with the Ministry of Health and Sanitation and other partners, have observed World AIDS Day on the theme, Know Your HIV Status, Rise, Test and Be Safe. The day gives Sierra Leoneans an opportunity to talk about how they can help each other to do their test and know their status. This year, the event marking the day took place in Bo, southern Sierra Leone. Joseph Stanley reports.
According to statistics from the National HIV and AIDS Secretariat, an estimated 61,000 people are infected with the virus, but only 47% of the 61,000 know their status. The resident minister, South Mohammed Ali, said 30 years ago governments made a commitment to the international community to fight and end AIDS in the world, but up till now much has not been achieved. He described HIV testing as the entry point to all HIV services available in the country. Mr. Ali added that women always go for the test, especially when they are pregnant, noting that treatment has shown to be very active and will help to.
HIV testing is the entry point to all HIV services, and it's a bold step that every citizen of Sierra Leone must take. We will encourage everybody, us men, to go for the HIV test. As we know, our women are always going for the test, especially when they are pregnant. The treatment has shown to be very effective and will help to prevent transmission of the virus when people adhere. The message is that we all should endeavor to test, as that is the first and the most important step in preventing HIV.
Prevent the transmission. He pledged government's commitment to ending AIDS by 2030. The Minister of Health and Sanitation, Dr. Alpha Tijan Buri, said the day has been celebrated for 30 years, but much gains have not been realized. 30 years after the first World AIDS Day, the UN resident coordinator, Nick Gardner, said the response to HIV stands at the crossroad to either eliminate it by 2030 or continues to devastate nations. The Deputy Africa Bureau Chief of the AIDS Healthcare Foundation, Dr. Patrick Wame, said the observance of the day will serve as a reminder to government and policymakers that there is still much to be done in the fight to defeat AIDS. The Executive Director of NETIPS, Idris Asungo, informed the audience that HIV testing has many benefits, but that stigma and discrimination are a big setback.
Memorial service for the late American President George H.W. Bush will begin on Monday in Washington. George Bush Sr. died Friday evening at the age of 94. His remains will be laid in state as Americans pay their last respect to the late president. Mr. Bush ruled for one term and lost to Bill Clinton. He was the first American president to have led the American Central Intelligence Agency, CIA. His son, George Bush Jr., described his late dad as the best father that a son or daughter would like to have. Late President Bush Sr. will be remembered for the invasion of Iraq to force Iraq out of Kuwait. The Deputy Minister of Defense, retired Colonel Simeon Nasiru Sharif, has called on the government to allow the military to take over the national cleaning exercise. He made the statement after inspecting the last national cleaning for this year in Freetown. Francis Danema reports.
This is the last National Cleaning Day exercise for this year. The Ministry of Defense has always participated and played key role in the national cleaning exercise. According to the Minister of Defense, retired Colonel Simeon Nasiru Sharif, the cleaning should be divided into two. The daily cleaning of the city, he said, should be left in the hands of the City Council, whilst the Ministry of Defense takes over the National Cleaning Day, since they are disciplined and can ensure the correct thing is done. The Chief Administrator, Freetown City Council, Festus Kali, said the military is disciplined and could be relied upon for all cleaning exercise. He endorsed the suggestion of the Deputy Minister of Defense to allow the military to take the lead in the cleaning exercise. Commander, Joint Forces, Ministry of Defense, Sule Ibrahim Sise, said he has observed that some people come with their waste at the eve of the cleaning exercise and dump them on the street. He said such will not help the cleaning exercise and encouraged the government to leave it in the hands of the military so that these things will be corrected.
The Strategic Partnership for Higher Education, Innovation and Reform through the British government has launched a £4 million project titled Ensuring Quality in Higher Education in Sierra Leone. The launching took place at the residence of the British High Commissioner at Hill Station. Mayin Mansari reports.
Center of Excellence and the Citadel of Learning in West Africa. Students from other Africa countries used to study in Sierra Leone. In the past, Sierra Leone's higher educational system had been held back due to funding, limited staff, training opportunities, and the absence of an effective quality management system. In that backdrop, the British government through UK Aid has supported 7 higher educational institutions like University of Sierra Leone, Jala University, and Miltimerai College, among others. The British High Commissioner Guy Warrington said the project will transform the higher educational system in the country. The director of British Council, Tony Relly, said this is their 75th year of operation in Sierra Leone. Assuring quality in higher education is their target.
It's one of the most ambitious of the 9 approved Sphere projects, and it has some really unique characteristics. Joseph will remember us sitting in London trying to define the objectives of this program, and one of the objectives we really wanted to achieve was to have programs with significant investment. This is a £4 million investment.
The Minister of Technical and Higher Education, Professor Eyak Bakima, said it is a welcoming development for the higher education in the country.
Higher education was really the engine to drive this country, to industrialize Africa. And TVET training is competency-based training. The people who train in TVET institutions are not lecturers, they are trainers. You use very little theory, a lot of the brain and the hands. So it should be literacy must be involved.
He said strict measures have been put in place for exam malpractice and sexual harassment in the universities. He added that the ministry is working towards eliminating diploma and certificate courses and to revise the curriculum in all the universities. Professor Johnny Redwood Sawyer from the University of Sierra Leone said graduates need to be equipped with the technical and soft skills employers are looking for in the job market. He added that by September 2021, Leone, the project will see students in the 7 universities enroll in 8 key degree programs that will conform to national quality standards. The Vice Chancellor Jala University, Abdullah Mansare, said graduate employability is a challenge everywhere. He added that the project will last for 3 years, which will aim at transforming the higher education for inclusive and economic growth in Sierra Leone. For SABC TV News, Mayeni Mansare reporting.
The United Nations Women has launched the Women in Shea Butter Value Chain project. Shea butter is commonly called in Sierra Leone, Madoni. The launching also saw an exhibition of products manufactured from shea butter. Ibrahim Samura reports.
These cosmetic products were produced from shea butter, commonly called Madoni. The products range from body cream, soap, hair relaxer, and shampoo, among others. The items were produced by these women traders drawn from across the country. According to UN Women Country Representative Dr. Mary Okomo, UN Women supported the women of Sierra Leone to add value to their businesses. She said they will try to provide a factory for the women as 7 different products are made from shea butter. A representative from the Ministry of Trade and Industry, Hannah Brodick, said her ministry welcomes the initiative, saying that women in Sierra Leone had been left behind in the area of development. She stressed the need to uplift the status of women in the country. Madam Brodick congratulated the women for going through the training on value chain in shea butter, noting that the initiative will help to improve on their livelihoods. The consultant from Senegal, Dini Ram Hari, said she has provided consultancy in agri-products in 10 countries in West and Central Africa, working with women. She stressed the need to empower women in the area of economic empowerment to help them become self-reliant.
So I am working, as Mama Maru told you, in 10 countries right now for Western Central Africa for UN Women, trying to share what I know about value chains. Not only shea butter value chain, but also others like cassava, sesame, moringa, fruits and vegetables, rice, etc.
She challenged the women to serve as ambassadors and trainers for colleague women who did not benefit from the shea butter value chain training. Beneficiaries sharing their experiences said shea butter value chain training has helped to change their lives. They said they have been selling shea butter for decades, saying that they never knew that with shea butter they can produce different cosmetic products. They call on government to support them with factory to put into practice what they have learned.
You're watching Weekend News coming to you from the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation with me, Mariam Asuma. We continue with more stories making the news tonight. Nectar Sierra Leone Bulk Terminal has commissioned a brand new ambulance and a first aid facility for its operations as the Sierra Leone Ports Authority. The facilities were provided as a result of the risk environment that Nectar staffs work. The Queen Elizabeth II Quay, which is now a landlord port, has privatized many of its facilities in order to provide efficient service to customers. Asmiba reports.
Is prone to accidents which may involve injuries, and the need for a faster treatment for such injuries is necessary. Addressing staff at the Queen Elizabeth II Quay, General Manager Nectar Sierra Leone Bulk Terminal said the ambulance is a show of commitment to the welfare and safety of its workers. Robert Smith said his company is a reputable one that respects safety measures of its workers. Director of Nectar Health Safety, Peter Hester, said the ambulance and the first aid facilities are important for the safety of their workers. He told the workers that November and December are the 2 months with the highest incidence of accidents. Mr. Hester disclosed that other departments in the port are also free to use the ambulance whenever there is an emergency. Deputy General Manager of the Sierra Leone Ports Authority, Yankuba Bio, lauded Nectar Sierra Leone for the ambulance service and called on workers to use the facility for its intended purpose. Mr. Bio said the safety of workers is high on the agenda of the ports management. The doctor in charge of the Sierra Leone Ports Authority clinic said the provision of the first aid units and the ambulance is long overdue, but praised Nectar management for providing the facility. Dr. Jallo cautioned workers that the first aid facility is only meant to come to the aid of a victim until he or she is taken to the hospital.
The Educational Center for the Blind and Visually Impaired Persons has supported 16 students with tailoring and carpentry tools to mark the end of their technical course. Tools for Self-Reliance Project UK, a long-standing partner to the Educational Center for the Blind, provided machines worth millions of leones to enable the young graduate. Soriba Samura reports.
The school has been handling persons with disability education, especially for blind persons, for over 10 years by providing school learning materials such as brailles, frames and styles. At the ceremony inside the hall of the Educational Center for the Blind and Visually Impaired at Crafton, 16 students graduated from the carpentry and tailoring classes. The Director, Educational Center for the Blind and Visually Impaired Crafton, Thomas Aliyu, recalled that Tools for Self-Reliance UK came to the school and expressed their concern to assist in making the young people realize their dreams.
We have marked this occasion to give out startup kits to students who have successfully gone through the training in carpentry and tailoring. I'm extremely happy that I can change the life of others. I am happy that we can give hope to young people and needy students as well. So I'm extremely happy to witness this occasion today to give out these startup kits, and we have been supported by a UK-based organization known as Tools for Self-Reliance in the UK.
He expressed satisfaction that he is able to realize his dream of helping humanity through vulnerable young men and women. Mr. Aliyu admonished the beneficiaries to make good use of the equipment for a better life after school and to serve as good examples in which to attract other young men and women in and beyond the crafting community. A short skit by blind and able-bodied students on self-reliance preceded statements by representatives of the Ministries of Education and Social Welfare, Gender and Children's Affairs, and Chairman of the Board of ECBVI. Soriba Samura, SLBC News, Freetown.
The National Concern for Development, Sierra Leone, has updated journalists on its activities and the 2019 budget. Here is the report. Transformation of the organization from community-based to a local NGO in 2017. It has been working in 3 thematic areas: education, health and agriculture, which are also key in the 2019 budget. According to the Country Director of National Concern for Development, Sierra Leone, Alfred Nabi, the vision of the organization is to ensure that every child and marginalized women achieved their full potential through quality and affordable education, which is in line with flagship program of the government and also prioritized in the 2019 budget.
Our mission is to ensure that Sierra Leone become a better place for children and women through integrative approach.
The Public Relations Officer of National Concern for Development, Sierra Leone, Francis Will, said they have looked at the budget critically and it has realized that the government has done a lot in ensuring that Sierra Leone is safe and ready for progress.
What we are not too happy of is agriculture. When the President went to Parliament, he made it very clear that agriculture is one of his priorities. He's done immensely well to ensure that this sector is kind of moved from where it is now to a better place. But the budget that is located to that particular ministry is too meager that even during the budget hearing in Parliament, one of the PC MPs made mention of that budget.
He said as an organization, they appreciate government for strides in the education sector, as 21% budgetary to that sector is a novelty in this country. Prior to regular monthly cleaning exercises, the drainage at the Pademba Road has been a public eyesore. SLBC News examines why regular cleaning has limited impact on this particular spot. Harold Williams reports.
Dispute over jurisdiction has become a government issue regarding vital infrastructure affecting public health within the capital, Freetown. At Pademba Road, the entire intersection with Samba Gutter is a case study for all the typical problems affecting drainages and culverts within most municipalities. Severe destruction has occurred in the past when this intersection was neglected and the warning signs have returned. The notorious drainage from the Pademba Road prisons remains open. Men's Street joins Pademba Road at the end of a very long and steep hill. Garbage easily becomes accumulated at this point with items manufactured of plastic, including Pampers and bags with human waste. Household water pipes are typically laid inside the gutters, thus blocking and impeding the cleaning of these gutters. Slabs along Pademba Road were raised in order to allow limited passage of water, but the accumulation of filth is a daily problem. Minor flooding has occurred as a result at this particular junction. The challenge is to clean, but to clean comprehensively and to stop all such blockages in the future. The Roads Authority, Roads Safety Administration and City Council engineers have a clear responsibility but overlapping mandates to solve the problem. Issues of disposal of plastics and human waste are the responsibility of the Ministry of Health and Sanitation. Meanwhile, the accumulation of human and household waste becomes an airborne dust during the present dry season. In 6 months, the rain season will return with more problems and the need for more expenditure to solve them.
The National Organization for Women in Sierra Leone is holding a consultative dialogue with stakeholders at Kaningu, Levuma and Goldrich communities. The theme for Women, Peace and Security Agenda Peace Advocacy, Conflict Prevention, Resolution and Peace Building. The objective is to empower women to take part in decision-making for the development of the country. Cynthia Camara reports.
For Women Sierra Leone, Dr. Nana Pratt said that the initiative of the organization is to improve women participation in politics and making them peace ambassadors. She called on them to come out with issues affecting their communities, as they are the ones that are most vulnerable in times of crisis. The President Women's Forum, Maud Peacock, said as an organization, they have thought it fit to make sure that peace reigns in the society, noting that it is the community people that are the fabric for peace in society. She said that sustainable development goals cannot be achieved without the community. The knowledge of self-confidence is within some women, while some of them get it through sensitization and training. Adding that life skill training can help mitigate such challenges. She noted that critical thinking in making decisions is essential in life. She encouraged the women to speak out on their rights without pulling others down, as everyone has an emotional intelligence. She informed the gathering about the 16 days of activism against domestic violence. The Director of Gender in the Ministry of Social Welfare, Gender and Children's Affairs, Charles Vandis, said 25th November to December 10th has been recognized as the 16th day of activism against domestic violence on the theme Orange the World. He said 8,199 domestic violence cases have been recorded, according to the Family Support Unit of the Sierra Leone Police in 2017. He informed the gathering that the ministry is working in close contact with the community and the police to address the issue. He said that the Sustainable Development Goal 5 11 and 16 strongly condemned domestic and sexual-based violence and called on the communities to report such matters. He said alternative dispute resolution should be the first means of settlement rather than the court system. Gender specialist UNDP Musu Bangura maintained that gender deals with both male and female, but as an organization, they focus on women because they are most vulnerable. She encouraged the women to empower themselves, especially when they are of the greater population. She said the theme for this year's celebration is Hear Me Too. She encouraged the women to send their girl child to school so that they will be part of the decision-making body in future. Assistant Superintendent of Police Hawati Namomo, Head of Community Relations Department, called on the chiefs to refer cases of sexual abuses to the police and that they should not sit on such cases. She defined gender sexual-based violence and offenses that are chargeable according to law: psychological, physical, economical, and rape. She encouraged the women to make sure that they do not clear the evidence of victims in times of crisis. For SLBC News, Cynthia Kama reporting.
As a way to support education in the country, the Guaranty Trust Bank, as part of its corporate social responsibility, has provided close to 6,000 exercise books to St. Anthony at Aberdeen, Akibobet and St. Anthony Primary Schools. The Managing Director, Guaranty Trust Bank, Ade Adebisi, said the bank is always delighted to promote children's education in the country. Joseph Turi reports.
It is believed by many that education is the key to a successful future for children. It is also of the opinion of many people that education can assure children of a good and quality lifestyle. Even with the frantic efforts by the government to boosting education, Sierra Leone, like other countries in West Africa, is faced with a huge challenge of providing adequate learning materials for every school children. According to the Managing Director, Guaranty Trust Bank, Ade Adebiyi, supporting education is part of the social corporate responsibility. He added that the bank has over the years renovated primary schools in Freetown. The Managing Director was assertive that next year the bank will embark on supporting extracurricular activities in school.
Yes, we have some plans. In fact, even before the free education policy of the government, over the past 3 years, we have renovated some schools in Freetown and also in Kenema. So even before the free education policy, we've done that. We've done St. John's Primary School in Freetown. We've also done Maranatha Primary School also in Freetown. And we've done 1 or 2 schools in Kenema. So without a doubt, our support for education is not based on the present government's objective. It's something we have been doing for over 5 years.
Authorities of the various schools were urged by the bank management to distribute the books judiciously and also called on the pupils to take their academic work seriously. A teacher at the Aberdeen Municipal Primary School, Batu Johnson, lauded Guaranty Trust Bank for the kind gesture and pleaded on them to help in renovating their school as it is in a bad shape. The move by the Guaranty Trust Bank, one can say, is worth emulating by other business institutions or individuals or groups to actualize the government's free education flagship program.
And now to end the news, the main point again. Sierra Leone joins the countries to commemorate. President Bill has called on Sierra Leoneans to do their HIV test to know their status. The remains of the late American President George H.W. Bush will be laid in state in Washington on Monday. And UN Women is capacitating women on how to use shea butter to produce cosmetics products. That's all in this edition of News Hour with me, Maria Musuma. Thanks for watching. Do have a wonderful night.